Hello everyone, it's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. So the pirates, the deep state, they have been very successful over a long period of time, and their days are numbered now. It's coming to an end. So I wore this hat in regard to them. Surrender the booty. All right, so the pirates, they don't like to just take things. They like to destroy. They like to control, manipulate, and surrendering the booty is not something that we're up to anymore. We're not going to surrender the booty anymore. Although there's a lot of people that are, probably mentally compromised, which we're going to talk about. But let's start with Russia. All right, World War II. So a lot of people thought that we won World War II. Of course, there were other factors that were happening in World War I and World War II. And those factors were basically giving the deep state the complete control of the world, and that was their ultimate goal. So surrendering the booty, right? They wanted it. They wanted it all. Unfortunately, we're onto their little game, and as of now, they're losing massively on every scale. They've already lost on certain timelines, right? But we're going to look at some of the things that happened in the past. It gives us some ideas that were suppressed from Major Jordan's diaries. So this is actually a book you can get online. Overview. Major Jordan was the expediter for Lend-Lease shipments to the Soviet Union from 1942 to 1942. He became alarmed at the movement of documents, materials, and personnel between the U.S. and the Soviet Union and began a diary to record what he observed. So he was actually, he claimed he was not a professional soldier. He volunteered for World War I and World War II. And, he was doing this, moving this stuff. This is what his book documents, that the United States gave the USSR the atomic bomb, including uranium and the other materials and classified scientific documents needed, even a blueprint of the Manhattan Project. So that top secret Manhattan Project that American taxpayers spent, probably hundreds of millions of dollars, and that was like hundreds of billions of dollars in today's money, building very secretively. It wasn't until decades later that anybody even found out about Manhattan Project. And it was being developed in the Tennessee Hills. All right, so military secrets, equipment, vehicles, aircraft, ships, weaponry, and trading. So, we had President Roosevelt who thought of Joe Stalin. He called him Uncle Joe. Of course, Roosevelt basically started lots of communist things here. We look at Social Security. It was basically a movement into socialism, communism. And, of course, who was Roosevelt? He was a Democrat, right? So Democrats are all about communism and Nazism too, right? So it is, of course, all the Nazis came over, Operation Paperclip. Thousands and thousands we're finding out now. At first we thought it was just, the NASA scientists, and now we're finding out there were thousands upon thousands, 10, 12,000 people that came over. So how many more are we going to find out over time? 100,000? Who knows? Industrial secrets were given to Soviet Union. So remember the Bolsheviks in Manhattan from Ukraine, the Jews that were in Manhattan and still are in Manhattan, not all Jews, of course, but the Khazarian mafia types from Ukraine that went to Manhattan, that raised money, that funded the downfall of the Russian monarchy so that the communists could come in. This is what the Democrats are doing now. They've been funding this in the United States, allowing all these illegal aliens to come over and all the things they've been doing. We've pointed out for quite some time. So we're going to talk about how the Democrat Party is at one of the lowest points it's ever been in its history, and trying to go lower. They tried the best they can because they're so stupid to go lower. Like I've said, by the 2028 election, they will be non-existent. Right. So I've said for years that the Democrat Party is going to go away. It is fast moving in that direction. Will they still be around in the 2026 election? Probably, but I think it's going to be so minimal of their elections. It's going to be tragic, and it's going to be basically the last straw for them. The straw that breaks their camel's back. All right, we'll just call them camels. Right? Of course, they're donkeys. They're jackasses. All right, that's the Democrat Party mascot, of course. Scientific secrets were given away, papers and patents. U.S. Treasury plays for printing paper money. Vast amounts of materials, equipment, vehicles, aircraft, ships, foodstuffs, vast amounts of consumer goods contrary to the Lend-Lease law. Vast amounts of equipment and supplies to be used after World War II to build USSR's industries contrary to the Lend-Lease law. So we know that the deep state basically funds both sides. So we know that the deep state was funding the Nazis. Ford Motor Company was building tanks for the Nazis. And we have seen all of this over time be revealed. Basically, they just fund both sides to keep these wars going. They profit on both sides of the equation. And they end up, taking the wealth of every country that they, dominate. So that's what happened with the USSR. Now, of course, the Russians eventually got fed up with it and threw them off. Will the Americans get fed up with the Democrat Party and throw them off soon? I believe so. All right. This was not done by accident nor by espionage, but as a matter of policy and high priority under the administration of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt as administered by the Lend-Lease program run by Harry Hopkins. This book also shows U.S. military personnel were assigned to the United Nations. Now, the United Nations right now is thwarting like 1,000 different trucks filled with, goods for the people in Gaza. And so we're hearing that children are starving in Gaza. Probably not, but, that's a story that they're spinning. But the United Nations is the one that's, causing the problem. So they were formed during, World War I? So by another Democrat, Wilson. So it's an ongoing process to destroy, the United States, the world, and control us completely. So, like it says, it's not done by accident or espionage. It's done by the President of the United States. So here's the man, Harry Hopkins, Major Jordan, I'm sorry. So, Harry Hopkins. So, George Racy Jordan, Library of Congress, reprinted in 1958. So, it goes on. It talks about my reason for writing this book is very, very simple. I would like to keep the record straight. I want to put in permanent form the full story of my experiences as a Lend-Lease secretary. So, he goes on to talk about it. There was a Colonel Katikov, head of the Russian mission at Great Falls, who requested my promotion to major. I'm sure he would because he's getting all this stuff. So now we've seen this stuff all the way till the present times. I have been shocked at the efforts of the character assassins and press experts to keep the implications of this story from being brought into proper focus. I've never heard of this. Have you heard of this? But someone shared this with me recently, and I was like, yep, this makes sense. Because they want to control everything. And that's how they come in and do this stuff. They take over countries. Now, what's interesting is Senator Richard Nixon, Republican nominee for vice president, basically his questions are addressed to Donald Appel, former FBI agent and special investigator for the Committee on Un-American Activities. So Nixon actually did a very pretty good job here exposing this. And he goes on and talks about that. And he talks about a lot more. So here we go, guys. We're seeing that, this stuff has been going on for quite some time. I've seen it going on. I wasn't in a position to basically, call it out. I am now, of course. I am in a position to call it out now, but I've seen this stuff going on behind the scenes. I've seen the manipulators behind the scenes manipulating things. It's very, very, Nixon ran paperclip. Nixon was seriously maligned. So now Nixon trained Trump. So I don't know that Nixon was maligned. So maybe you guys are, maybe you're right, maybe you're not. I don't see it that way. I see that Nixon was, did he know about the JFK assassination going on? Yes. There was like 6 or 7 presidents that knew, that would eventually be presidents that knew about the JFK's assassination that was coming before it came, right? So these guys are all tangled up in this stuff, all of them. And so if you make a comment, you probably, you throw a dart at the dartboard, you're going to hit some number, right? So eventually you're going to hit the bullseye. So yeah, you can throw darts at this thing, and you're going to make out. It's going to lead to something. So a lot of these guys have done this. Now Nixon, of course, was destroyed. Why was he destroyed? What happened? Was he trying to end the war? Yes, he was trying to end the Vietnam War. They didn't like that, so they did away with him. And so a lot of things. So yes, Nixon trained Trump, and Trump talks about that. And he gave him some good insights, like how things really are. So I think President Trump has been trained for quite some time. So if Nixon was training Trump and you like Trump, then you might want to reconsider Nixon's place in history, right? So let's look at, because Trump and team are taking down the Nazi, Democrat, liberal system all around the world, guys. All around the world. All around the world. And it is an ongoing process, of course. Many people don't see it. Many people don't understand it. There's a lot of people that have been mentally compromised, and they just don't give a shit anymore. But those of us that still are involved, that still want to see this thing, resolve in the right way, we're going to stay involved. All right, so let's look at what's going on in Ukraine. Ukraine it's quite a little thing that's going on in Ukraine. So we have Zelensky. Remember, Zelensky came and talked to Trump, and Trump said, you gotta stop fighting. And so Zelensky is like, screw that. And he went to Europe. He went to UK, and he said, Trump wants me to stop fighting. How about you guys? And they're like, no, keep fighting. But they want to control him very much because they're the deep state, right? Trump is not the deep state. So Trump gave him a lifeline. Will he eventually grab it, or will he go down with the deep state ship like the Titanic? So, all right, so this is frontline combat. Ukraine presidential brigade soldier defects to Russia. This is happening on a more massive scale. Now, what's interesting about this soldier is he is saying that he is fighting for Ukraine on the side of Russia to destroy the Ukrainian army so that his people can be free. That's interesting that he takes that point of view, but he is part of a growing brigade that believes the same thing. So here he is. I'll give you a little piece of this. This is Patrick Lancaster, his site. Can we say the same thing about the other guys in your battalion? So he's saying that he's free because Patrick is asking him. They have a little conversation that goes on for about 4 minutes. So I'm giving you basically the gist of it. He was captured. They told him, I think it was in Avdiivka, and the Russians were doing their pincer movements like I've been talking about. And he was told with his brigade to stay and fight, and that they were going to be relieved within a few days by Marines that were being trained for their relief, and they never came. And so they saw the way these were. So he talks about how who would have benefited from my fighting to the death? Would my mother be proud of me? No. Would the people of Ukraine be proud of me? No. So he and a lot of other men that are fighting in Ukraine, many in his battalion were forced placed. That means they were basically, you've seen probably some of the videos where they're snatched off the streets and forced to go fight in the front. So a lot of them never liked it. Those that stay are the ones that didn't have the money to leave to go to America and Europe. By the millions, tens of millions of Ukrainians have fled this war state because they know that it's bad. Will they ever go back? If Trump has his way, they'll want to go back. And in all your battalions, sure, everybody in my battalion is a volunteer. The guys get qualified to get in our battalion. It's not that easy. So he talks about how the Russians know the people that are fighting in Ukraine that are doing criminal activity, killing civilians, stealing, whatever they're doing. They know which Ukrainians are doing this. They have the intelligence that's focused on that. So they basically screen all the guys that are in prisons, like, do you want to fight, to save your country, right? And, this all started with Ukraine basically for over almost 10 years, maybe longer, shelling the Donbass area because there were Russian speakers and identified more Russian than they did Ukraine. So the Nazis didn't like that. And so they started shelling, killing them by, the thousands, children, women, man, they didn't care. They just shelled cities, guys. And so Russia was like, stop, stop, stop. For years, they would mass at the border. And of course, you guys know that I was like, this year, they're going to go in the day that the Olympics ends. And sure enough, they did. And they almost took the country. Now, I've been in combat in many occasions. The one time that I was in combat for the United States, so I've been in combat for a lot, all over the place, was in Panama. So in that combat, we were told before the combat started that the Panamanian military would hand over to us. They would come to our side. So this is what the intel was telling us. Well, that did happen on a small level, but on a larger level, not so much. So it took all of our might, basically, U.S. military's might, and people died. SEALs died, Rangers died, helicopter pilots died. So a lot of people died because we were told mainly that it would be easy, that the Panamanians would just hand over to us. They wouldn't fight. That was a lie, or that was not good intel. Let's not call it a lie. So that's what happened with Russia. Russia was under the impression when they came into Ukraine, which did happen on a fairly large scale, and they almost took the whole country very quickly, that Ukrainians would just, they weren't going to fight. Well, that's not what the Nazis thought. So the Nazi of Ukraine, dating back all the way to World War II, with the German Nazis, of course, are still there. And they started to overcome all the battalions and groups that were surrendering before they could surrender. So they were coming in and basically assassinating and killing and then taking over. So they stopped that out. So now it's turned into a protracted war thanks to NATO, thanks to the United States. It gave hundreds of billions of dollars to basically pay foreigners to come and fight for Ukraine, and all of the weapon systems and ammunition and so forth that NATO, all the way from Australia was giving, they were piling tanks and stuff on ships and sending them to Ukraine. Unbelievable. So it is the Nazis, the deep state, all around the world basically put everything they had into fighting Russia. Now, just like I showed you Russia was set up, or at least the Soviet Union, that had been taken over by the deep state, had been set up to basically have all of this equipment, material, so that they could fight the Nazis and win. And the Nazis would go to where? Antarctica, right? So they had a base down there. Of course, we sent ships down there, and they got hammered. The reptilian Draco basically had helped them out and gave them high-tech information. And so they sent the fleet that went down there to take over down there. They sent them packing. And then they sent flying saucers over the White House. And they landed and put German Nazi troops in, and they basically said, this is the way things are going to go. Now, Truman, I believe, is the one that really signed everything over. And a lot of people have said Eisenhower has. We've had Laura Eisenhower has basically refuted that. And I think it was Truman, a Democrat, that basically gave up, America to the Nazis. All right, so this is where we're pushing all of that back. This is where we're winning. So we're winning in Ukraine on both sides. Right? The Ukrainians are ready to turn for real. The Russians are taking out the Nazis, doing away with the army and so forth. The same thing is happening in Iran. So Iran, we have the former Shah's son that has basically, everybody's saying he's going to be there in a political realm. And we'll see. We'll see how this transpires. So another thing. So Trump came in and hammered the heck out of their military, or their nuclear activity that was going on there. He even told them, say, I'm coming to bomb that nuclear stuff. You better get those people out of there. So bombed the hell out of it. None of their people were killed. Destroyed their military activity, which the deep state had set up to help control the world with nukes that had been given to Iran by the hundreds from the former Soviet Union, the old deep state. So they transferred them to Iran. So the same thing happened with, Saddam Hussein sending military gear and stuff to Syria. Now Syria has been taken down. And so the U.S. conducts rare raid in Syria, killing a senior Islamic State leader. So we know that Trump said he was going to knock hell out of ISIS. So he's still doing it. There's still remnants of it. Syria, the current Syria, is backed by the U.S. guys. Israel is basically, I think, has been overtaken. The deep state part of it has been mostly overtaken by the White House. And they're being used, their military is being used to basically destroy remnants of the deep state all around the world that Iran had put in there. So we're seeing, like I said, the devastation of the deep state military machine all around the world. So U.S. Special Forces, probably Delta, SEAL Team 6, maybe a combination of both. U.S. military forces conducted a rare raid in northwestern Syria on Friday, killing a senior Islamic State leader and 2 other ISIS insurgents, which were that man's sons that he had trained to be ISIS fighters. The women and children were not hurt. Good job, guys. Precision. Good job. I love it. Trained for that for so long, and that expertise is carried on. Good. In a statement, Central Command said the U.S. forces killed the leader, Hardani. What a name, right? Hardani. Okay, Al Hardani. You dead. All right. That Hardani's no longer hard. Right. So, and his 2 adult sons in the Aleppo area. Right. Hardani gone, and his sons that were being groomed to be baddies, also gone. So these ISIS individuals posed a threat to U.S. and coalition forces, as well as the new Syrian government. So sounds like the Central Command, the United States, is behind the new Syrian government, right? So there were a little problem areas, I guess, that they didn't have control of, where they had some people that were killing, different groups and so forth, and the Israelis came in and bombed them. So the Israelis, like I said, are being utilized to go after, because Israel is like one of the smallest countries in the world, yet it has been bombing everybody. Right? It's bombing the hell out of everybody in the Middle East that gets out of line. Gets out of line that the new White Hat Trump administration wants to get in line, right? And stop all the fighting. So this is where we're moving. We're moving to a whole world of white hatdom, right? And black hatdom is being taken down all around the world, guys, by President Trump. Very quietly, very surgically. And he's using proxies, of course, Israel, to do it. And when he needs to, he's going to have United States military forces, like we just saw a few days ago, go in and do raids, precision surgical strikes. All right, so one of the things, all this revelation that I and others are sharing is fantastical, right? As far as the new golden age, which Trump has talked about, we're moving into a golden age. So I have this one person that is very astute at mental health, and she sees things on a bigger scale. So it says it will be interesting to see the impact of all this on U.S. and global mental health. So that is the all of this disinformation that's being spread out there. So take, for instance, Trump being like he was buds with Jeffrey Epstein. Stupid, right? Bullshit. So he was basically sent by the White Hats to basically go in and research him and find out about him. Do you see President Trump with any children? Do you see him with women, wives, and those wives having children that he takes very good care of? And he takes very good care of his wives. And his wives are beautiful, model-like, and very intelligent. Why would he and how would he, have affairs with children with Jeffrey Epstein, right? I don't see it. Jeffrey Epstein, has he ever been married? No. Was he ever a major financier that understood markets? I guess money markets, because he was like expert trader. Not, right? People that were expert traders got around him and said that he was a fake. It's a complete fake. So who was he working for? Of course, the CIA, Mossad, and MI6. So why would Trump get involved in something like that? Trump's no dummy, right? Anyone could have gone into that situation and seen what was going on. But you can see Trump, he's like, yeah, look, come to my party and let's hang out. I got Melania, and you can hang out with your child trafficking friend. So come on. So the deep state is going to pass on these lies, and they're going to try and spin this. At this point, you should know this, but some people are tired, mentally tired. They're mentally tired. So my friend goes on and says, I really have no idea one way or the other about how this will affect the majority. My sense is most people are still very traumatized by COVID and perhaps won't ever recover from it. And some will never recover because they're going to die, right? Because they don't know how to help themselves. They don't know that they've been massively compromised by the mRNA injection, which is basically taking down their Immune system, slowly but surely, some faster than others, but slowly but surely, we're going to continue to see a massive death die-off from civilization, unfortunately. And we're going to watch that as we're trying to still, after 5 friggin' years, telling them, don't get vaccinated. Oh, you've been vaccinated? You better get on LifeWave. You better cleanse yourself. You better get that stuff out of you, right? So there's a lot of stuff that, I promote and other people promote, and natural ingredients are probably would help at least some. So I sense, my friend goes on, I sense there is a huge amount of people so numbed out, shut down, disassociated, overwhelmed, still from that, and perhaps they won't even be able to track or participate in the latest events. So here I am revealing for all humanity, right? The deep state apparatus, how it works, who is behind it, all right? We already know who's behind it. Bill Gates is one. Jeffrey Epstein, of course. Ghislaine Maxwell was part of that. But these are all puppets. Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama. He's got many lookalikes. I think Bill Clinton's got a few. Of course, Hillary Clinton's got a few. This is the way these things are done, right? We saw that big league, and during Biden's time frame, it's like every other day it was like a different Biden. We all pointed it out. An idiot could have figured it out, but not the ones that are mentally compromised, like I say. So they're not going to be able to keep up with the latest events. They were so traumatized by just COVID. COVID's it's like so old school, and I'm sorry, I was spent a lot of time in California. it's like I'm sorry, stop that, right? All right, so we have a lot of people that are mentally compromised. We know that. And will they ever be uncompromised mentally? Maybe not, right? Maybe not. And they won't be able to go to the golden age because they can't keep up. They can't keep up. You have to be able to keep up with this stuff, to keep yourself informed so you stay out of the firing lines that are happening. All right, so we're going to talk about those. What did I tell you guys about big cities? Right, it's starting to get a little hectic out there, those big cities, and we're just getting started. All right. So she goes on to say, that's my concern right now. Can people even tolerate the next wave of information like I'm sharing right now? This is a wave of information. Every time I come on, it's a wave of information. All right, it's a new wave, and it's rising. It's coming in, and it's taking down another aspect of the deep state. It's revealing. There's light being shed. It keeps revealing. Do they have the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual capacity to follow along? We know most people do not. All right, so I would like to think so. I would like to hope so, but we have to be realistic here. We have the best opportunity we have ever had to really embody a whole new earth. So, good insights, but are we going to embody a whole? Does everybody get to come along? Hey, maybe even I won't come along. I don't know. Maybe I won't make the cut. So, I'm trying to keep up, right? Trying to keep up and share with as many people as possible. But it is challenging, I see, for a lot of people. Now, the views on this YouTube channel are growing by leaps and bounds. That's great. And the guests that are coming on are revealing tremendous information. Leo Zagami will be back on Thursday, if everything works out right. So, sometimes I don't like to tell where my guests are coming on because Leo Zagami seems to be pretty cool. They don't really attack him or have it yet, but who knows? He revealed massively on the last show I did with him about the Jesuits. He's like, oh, Michael, The Kazari Mafia, they are nothing compared to the Jesuits. And I was like, Leo, oh my God, you kidding me? Yellowstone's going to blow, right? But not massively, right? So everybody's concerned about Yellowstone, but it's not going to be super volcano thing. It's going to blow, but it's going to not be like devastating. It's not going to blow out 3 or 4 states, right? There's going to be volcanic activity in America. It's ramping up, obviously, but not on a level that we might see in a couple other areas, right? Maybe in Japan, it might be something super volcano-like, and maybe in Italy, could be another one out there. Italy, Greece, one of those places out there. So I think we're gonna get a couple super volcanoes, and that's going to affect the weather quite a bit. All right, will they happen both at the same time? No, they'll happen over a period of time. The earthquakes will happen over a period of time. They will trigger tsunamis. It's just part of the Earth is changing too, and that's why you have to be involved. Like obviously you guys are. You're watching Yellowstone. Yellowstone for a long time has captured the imagination and the fear of a lot of people. I would say, don't be fearful. I've always said that it's not going to be a major eruption, but I will say that there could be some fairly good sized eruptions there, but not on a massive scale. So there's many things. I've talked about these already as far as like the earth change stuff. I'm not going to do it on this show, but I keep sharing more and more information about the earth changes. So you just have to be aware of them. They're going to continue. So a shooter wearing a bulletproof vest and armed with a semi-automatic rifle shot at least 3 people in Manhattan on Sunday, including a New York Police Department officer. And I believe, from what I've heard, that that police officer has died. The shooting occurred about 6 p.m. inside the building at 345 Park Avenue. Now, what's at Park Avenue? Blackstone, Black Rock, Blackstone, was locked down on Monday evening. Police officer and at least 2 other people were shot on Monday. So what's this one that says Sunday? Is that a different one? What the heck? Wow. Could be a different one. Geez. So, or they got the dates wrong, whatever. The police did not immediately provide details of the shooting. Basically, they locked down the building, and then they had everybody come walking out. Some people ran out, and some people just walked out like, I'm good. Don't shoot me. I got my hands up, and just walked out and walked on, right? Or walked to the, wherever, the subway, and went home. So it's happening. It's happening. Big cities, all right? Big cities. Not going to be. Is it targeted? Is it part of the white hats? White hats don't kill guys. So unless they have to for self-preservation or self-preservation of others. So the white hats don't come in and start shooting people up. That's not a white hat thing. So if somebody comes in and starts shooting people up, it's a black hat thing. And why are they doing it? Why are they doing it? So remember, black hats always have multiple reasons why they do these things. Now, in Cincinnati, so that's New York. I don't know if there's 1 or 2 shootings there. The dates are kind of screwy or what, but all right. So, Jaco, the earthquakes and eruptions will ramp up as the asteroid gets a near miss. There's a Mississippi River split in half, promote view. You'll see. I'll look at it, Ernie. But just my feel right now is that asteroid's not going to have an impact like that. But maybe. It's very unusual. So I'll talk about the asteroid later, probably another show. All right, so Sickening video shows woman knocked out cold, huge brawl in Cincinnati. So some kind of music festival, jazz festival or something was going on. And sounds like one group said racial slurs to the others. At least that's what's being said. And then a fight ensued. And a lot of white people got knocked out. All right, got beat on. So is this more of, the bad guys, trying to foment, hate and discontent, racial? They always try to do the racial thing because that's what they do, right? Democrats love that. They love racism. They love to, put people in a plantation. And they did that and tried to keep that during the Civil War, but it didn't work out so good. So now they do it with, cities that are safe for illegal aliens, sanctuary cities. So those are the new plantations, Democrat plantations. All right. So let's look at the sickening video. I mean, there's a beat down going on. Some of them are pretty bad. Knocking somebody out. It's not good. But here's this guy. He's been chased into the streets. He's been beat on, kicked. So the Cincinnati police said, I don't know where they got these stats, but they said there were 100 people that were watching, videoing, whatever. Only one called police. All right, so I don't know. And so you gotta be careful with all this stuff. With this, could some of this be set up? Could be a setup. Could be the real thing. But people get in fights all the time. So is there real racial problems? Maybe a little bit in some areas, but really, there is no. In my opinion, there's no real racism in America. There are some people that are racist, of course, but on the level that they're trying to foment it, spread it, this is something they've done, since the end of the Civil War, and it's pathetic and disgusting. They should be going away. I think by, like I said, the 2026 election, they're going to be so slammed. They're probably going to wither away. They won't even exist by 2028. But we have to put up with their bullshit until then. And there's still people that like I just said. My friend said, she's a mental expert, and she's like, there's not a lot of people just going to be able to go along with this. They're stuck, and they're not going to grow. They're not going to mature. They're not going to the golden age. They're stuck, and we have to just be aware of that. So are these people here stuck? Probably. Now this guy was like, oh, he's there for all three of the little fights. So that's interesting. He just happens to be in the right spot. Same guy with his so seems maybe staged to me to a certain extent. But there have been people arrested. 5 people have been arrested. At least that's what we're being told. And we'll see. Now, the kick that I just saw from that guy was not a real kick to the head. So it's kind of a little sissy kick, right? If you're serious about kicking somebody in the head, they're out, right? So it seems to me this is staged. All right, so this woman tries to intervene. I guess she's just trying to be a good person. I don't think she knows this guy. Maybe she does. But we'll see what Ramaswamy said. he's running for governor, of course. So he jumps in on this. He says when he becomes governor, this will not happen. So anyway, this woman gets knocked out right here. So she's trying to intervene. This guy with all that kicking to the head and all that stuff that was going on, he gets up, right? All right, so this black woman comes in, and there's a guy right here, and between the two of them, they basically knock this woman out. All right, so she's bleeding. She looks like her eyes are still open. Looks like she's unconscious. Her eyes are still open. I've never seen anybody like that. Not that it doesn't happen, but it's crazy. She's bleeding from the nose. So again, all this stuff could be staged. So you just have to be observant of this. Don't get yourself hooked into anger or racism or anything like that. You're just like, well, these are a bunch of knuckleheads that are, fighting out there. And if they're really, causing this kind of mayhem, hopefully the law will really, come down on them. But this is kind of the stuff we're going to see. And this is not even that tip of the iceberg that's coming from big cities. All right, so you hear the guy, same guy. Whoa, whoa. All right, so here's this guy. He's just walking around along and bam. So it sounds like the same guy, videoing all these knockdowns. And this is pretty crazy. This one guy drags him into traffic. That's pretty wild. All right, so get out of big cities. The warnings are, how many do you need? I know a lot of you have told me over the years that you have. I'm definitely not in a big city. Haven't been in a big city for a long time. I try not to travel to big cities. To be in big cities, it's just going to get crazier and crazier and crazier. So this is Vivek Ramaswamy. He says, I spoke to Holly. That's the one woman. I'll just share the screen so you guys know what I'm talking about. The one woman that was knocked out. Today, the woman tragically assaulted in Cincinnati this weekend. She's a single working mom who went to a friend's birthday party. It's unconscionable that there were no police present. Interesting. In that area of Cincinnati on a Friday night. So again, my thoughts of staging, or even, and does it mean that, these people that did these attacks were the ones that were, paid to do these, and they literally did attack people for real? I don't know. I'm just observant here. Hardworking Americans shouldn't have to worry about their safety. Okay, that's always been a problem. When they have a good time in our cities. Holly said not a single local or state official had yet reached out as of earlier this afternoon, other than one police detective. Leftists like to lecture about systemic injustice, while thugs turn our cities into war zones. I'm done with their excuses. As governor, I'll make sure they're behind bars, not running wild. Our cops will have the green light to restore order. No apologies. Well, that sounds good. That sounds good. Is that something that will happen for real? Or is that more talk? Right? Talk. Ramaswamy. So we'll see. He ran against President Trump. Now he's President Trump bro, and looks like President Trump is maybe now behind him for being Ohio governor. We'll see. All right. I don't know. I'm observant of all that stuff. I'm an action guy. So when people are in positions where performance should be accomplished and they don't perform, I become very suspect, right? And then if I look a little deeper and I see some problem areas, I start to call it out. And so do a lot of other people, right? So do a lot of other people. And point the finger at certain people that don't get things done, that talk and don't get things done, right? Throughout their whole careers, right? But yet they're still popular. I don't know why, but it is what it is, right? So we'll keep an eye on all of these people that are saying they're going to do good things, but don't present, don't actually get things done. We don't need anybody like that anymore, right? Those are Luciferian times. Luciferian times are going by the wayside. We're going into the golden age, and in the golden age, things get done very quickly, seamlessly, and easily. If there's people that are in positions that are not getting those things done, whether they're police, sheriffs, school board, governors, congressmen, women, whatever, they need to be removed ASAP, immediately, right? And same thing goes around the world. If there's somebody around the world that's a problem, that's not really performing correctly, at this point, that person is Zelensky. So Zelensky's being isolated very slowly, very systematically. He will probably, I've already said that he's a dead man walking. There's no way that man lives going forward from what he's done to Russia, right? He's been a deep state puppet, and Trump has given, like I said, threw him a lifeline. I'll stop this war. I'll help you stop it. And then he ran like a little biatch that he is to England and talked to Starmer and all the other Nazis. And they were like, we'll help you. Screw Trump, right? Well, they're going to find out. They're going to find out. You don't mess with Trump, because Trump is basically has the entire White Hat organization, and it's moving very quickly to eliminate all the deep state players, their activities, their money-making systems. They're losing money on a massive scale. Just in America alone, the amount of child trafficking that they were getting away with for 4 years has been completely eliminated. That was a massive money maker for them. And we'll see a lot more of those systems being shut down as we go forward. So another one is the mortgage fraud that we've talked about. So they came up to President Trump for having mortgage fraud, but the Democrat Party and some Republicans are the ones that are really the ones that have been working that on the scale of trillions of dollars here in the United States and, of course, overseas. So that is being revealed, and we've had a lot of guests on that have been revealing it. So you guys that have been watching, paying attention, you're very well informed. If you're not mentally incapacitated at this point by all the trauma that's been going on, then you're going to see some amazing things. Those that are traumatized, they're not going to see anything. They don't know. They don't know. They don't care. They're already traumatized, like those people fighting in the streets, whatever. All right. And the people that will be fighting in the streets going forward on probably a very significant scale coming up. All right. Eugenics. Yep. Self-eugenics. All right. All right, guys. And the one thing that I kind of like about Darwinism, survival of the fittest, right? Which is stupid, but it was all a lie. Darwin was all a lie. So many things we've been taught bullshit, right? So we'll figure it out, and we'll have the Darwin Awards for the future. Well, why not? Why not? They're going to be Hillary Clinton, Darwin Award. Bill Clinton, Darwin Award. So those are the Darwin Awards we were looking for, right? Jeffrey Epstein and all those other people. Those are Darwin Awards that we're looking at. They're the ones that they created. They created Darwinism. Bullshit. So it's all a lie. It's all stupid. All right, but when it comes to them, it will work perfectly. Okay, guys, lots of love. The Wakey Award. That will be a good one. So, who is the most stupidest, right? The most Darwin-like and loser, and became awake and maybe even led people out of stupid, right? That will be the Wakey Award. And of course, we'll have dream cruises in the future, probably 10 years out or so. It's going to take a while, where we're celebrating, overcoming all this bullshit, and it'll be fun. A lot of us have been doing this for a long time. We'll have a break finally in about 10 years. I don't know. We'll see. All right, guys. Lots of love, stay in love vibration. And we're winning. We're winning bigly. And we're going to keep